morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at a winning Torkoal V deck list. Big shout out to the lovely Talonite X for linking us to the deck list, and a big shout out to the lovely David Hockman over at limitlesstcg.com/translations for hooking us up, shockingly enough, with the translation. So Torkoal V then, and it really is a Torkoal V deck. This is a deck entirely built around Torkoal V, with Torkoal V, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say, your only real viable attacker. Now, the main attack we're looking for here is Flame Pillar. 2 fire, 1 colorless energy, you do 90 damage, and you discard the top card of your deck. If it's a fire energy, you do an extra 90 damage, that being 180 in total. That, ladies and gentlemen, pretty gosh darn good. You can, for 4 energy, do 120 and discard 2 energy from your opponent's active, and that isn't the main goal of the deck here, I don't believe anyway. We're not really looking at an energy denial deck. For instance, we're not playing Crushing Hammer here. But if you see that your opponent's struggling for energy, why not? If you're not getting a KO anyway, why not? And as a side note, if you are 2-hit KOing here, if you can spare the energy, you are better off using the second attack to do 120 while discarding energy, and then using Flame Pillar to actually take the KO. Just putting that one out there. Anyway, that's what Torkoal is, that's what Torkoal does. And really, the rest of the Pokemon line here is just designed to get Torkoal rolling. And we'll talk about the energy in a minute. Spoiler alert, we're just using Welder. But really, what we need to do here is make sure that we have an energy on top of our deck. Because if we don't have an energy on top of our deck, things are going fairly wrong. And one great option we've got here is Magcargo. You see, Magcargo's got the amazing ability Smooth Over. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a card, shuffle your deck, and then put that card on top of it. So get a fire energy. There we go. Use Magcargo, search for a fire energy, pop it on top of your deck, and then when you discard the top card of your deck using Torkoal, it is definitely going to be a fire energy. In which case, you're good to go. And that means that you're hitting a reliable 180 damage. Now, it's not just Magcargo here. We have other things other than Magcargo. We have Oranguru, the new Oranguru, which came out in Sword and Shield. Once during your turn, you may swap one of your hand cards with the top card of your deck. So if you've got a fire energy in hand, you can use Oranguru's ability here to just whack a fire energy from your hand on top of your deck. Now, of course, we could sit here and go, why do we need Oranguru and Magcargo? Or we could go, oh my goodness, that's an amazing combo. Imagine this, right? Imagine you've got a fire energy in hand, and a bunch of the time, you are going to have a fire energy in hand. We've got ways of searching it out quite easily. Use Magcargo to put any card on top of your deck, and then use Oranguru to swap a fire energy in your hand for that card. So essentially, using the two abilities, not only do you get to put a fire energy on top of your deck, guaranteeing the extra damage with Torkoal, but you also get to essentially search your deck for any card and put it into your hand. The two of these Pokemon together form a rather spiffing combo indeed. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. As for the other Pokemon in the deck, we've got Alolan Ninetales. Discard 2 fire energy from your hand, and then you get to swap your opponent's active Pokemon with one of their bench. It's a phenomenal gusting card. We've got Mew to protect your bench against all those pesky Pokemon trying to spread damage. And we've got one Ditto Prism Star here. We're playing both Magcargo and Alolan Ninetales at our Stage 1 Pokemon. Therefore, we're good to go. And that's it. It's a very straightforward deck. But I love the fact that even though it's a fairly straightforward deck, between Ninetales with a Gusting and the Magcargo Oranguru combination, you've got a very consistent deck, or at least you should, and you're hitting 180 for free energy consistently. Bearing in mind, with 2 Makago and 2 Oranguru, you can actually get this little chain rolling twice per turn. That is to say, you essentially get to get any 2 cards you like twice per turn. What we really need when we're using something like Makago is a way to draw that card we put on top. And Oranguru, well, it's the best way we've had to do that since Oranguru, but even the old Oranguru only actually worked if you had 2 or fewer cards in your hand. This just always works. Well, no, I suppose it always works if you've got a card in hand. Now, in terms of the trainer card here, we're not going to talk about the energy, it's all fire. We do have some fire tricks. Giant Half is an incredibly useful card, lets you search your deck for a couple of fire energy. Now, of course, you need fire energy to attach with Welder, which is obviously your energy acceleration of choice. But it also means you got fire energy in hand to use with Oranguru, which becomes a pretty gosh darned important thing to do. Although we are also playing Power Plant here as an alternate stadium. And Power Plant just turns off EX and GX abilities. If your opponent's trying to rely on something like Dedenne, it goes away nice and quickly. Doesn't hurt you, you've got no GX abilities, but it very much does hurt your opponent. Now, supporter-wise, we really are relying on Welder here, even to the point we're actually playing a full 4 copies of PokéGear 3.0, so that we can find those Welder very nice and easily. It's pretty gosh darned important, if I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're also playing Marnie. That's a new one whereby both players shuffle their hand, put them on bottom of their deck, you draw 5, your opponent draws 4. Slows your opponent down a bit while also giving you some shuffle draw. And we've got Mallow and Lana here. It's a switch, plus you heal 120 damage. That sounds pretty good to me. Now, we do, as well as some healing here, actually play a bunch of buff padding. Because Torkoal V has a retreat cost of 4, which means you can pop buff padding on there, and instead of having 210 HP, you've now got 260 HP. So essentially, you've got the HP of a free prize Pokemon, Tag Team GX, while only giving up 2 prizes. You're not going to be one-hit KOing that much in this deck. You're hitting 180, which gets weaker basic GXs, but it doesn't get evolved GXs, it doesn't get tag teams, etc. It doesn't get most of the Pokemon V, unless you're hitting weakness, of course. But if you can survive a couple of hits, it doesn't really matter. Now, in terms of Pokemon search here, get ready to hear this in a lot of decks. We're using that new combination of Quick Ball and Evolution Incense. Searches out your basics and your evolution Pokemon. It's what makes things so consistent. Though we do see some Pokemon communication in here as well. Lets you search and switch your Pokemon. Bearing in mind here, you can use Oranguru and Makago to make sure that you've always got a Pokemon in hand. But then again, why would you need Pokemon communication? You can make sure they get you the right Pokemon. Hey-ho. We've also got a couple copies of Switch here because you've got a high retreat cost. You need to be able to switch. We've got Reset Stamp because Reset Stamp is played in literally every deck. It's a one-of. You make your opponent shuffle their hand into their deck and draw a number of cards equal to their remaining prizes. Great if they take an early lead. And we find ourselves here with an energy recycle system. A couple, in fact. You either put 1 basic energy from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 into your deck. Well, you need energy to use stuff like Welder, but if you play this, you pick up a fire energy, which you can then put back on top of your deck using Oranguru. Yeah, that's pretty gosh darned important. You can use this to just recover energy into your deck. It's a good use for it, but I think this is primarily there because of the redonkulous combo it has with Oranguru. I can't tell you right now whether this is going to be a top tier deck or whether this is going to be one of those that is just a little bit of a fringe occasional deck like Makago was that sees a bit of success here or there. But I absolutely can tell you that Bearing in mind, Welder gets you the free energy you want in a single turn, 2 with Welder, 1 with your attachment for the turn, and the added consistency and the beef that you've got here certainly makes this a worthy contender and one that you should have a go with and do a bit of testing. But I'd like to know what you think you're going to find. Do you think this deck is legit? Do you think the testing will be good? Or do you think it is destined to be a fringe deck forever? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.